And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Late Night Show for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there. There's so many moving parts to this episode. So many moving parts that I'm truly just trying to get lined up. Hey, I have a monologue for you. Let's get to it. The recently hired artistic director for the Kennedy Center quit after less than 2 weeks on the job, which explains why your mom sent you that LinkedIn listing. Rapper Nicki Minaj appeared at President Trump's Gold Card event where he was promoting his $1 million U.S. visa. Minaj announced that she was Trump's #1 fan, and he announced who the loser of the Nicki-Cardi feud was. They look like a high-class escort, a middle-class escort, and of a high-class man. I didn't want to pay for the whole thing. Honey, what do they have on the... They have ceviche. They have ceviche. The man who used a syringe to spray apple cider vinegar on Minnesota U.S. Representative Ilhan Omar has been charged with assault and unwarranted help with lowering Omar's blood pressure. Oh, no. Sorry, something was up that shouldn't have been up. A man tried to break healthcare CEO shooter Luigi Mangione out of jail with a pizza cutter, and I guess the question mark block didn't give him the fire flower that he really needed. I spent so long writing that one. Melania Trump's documentary premiered today and has also retroactively won the Golden Globe for Best Documentary, has been nominated for an Oscar, and is getting rave reviews as it portrays the heart and soul of the Trump family, displaying Melania as a woman of wit character. And I'm just kidding. The movie is bombing critically and is even being pulled from theaters in South Africa. And yes, it's for political reasons. That's like the guy getting broken up with on the day of his wedding because of how he acted at the bachelor party the night before. Oh, it's because I had sex with that stripper in our bed in front of you? Okay, I totally understand. The Melania doc premiered this week at the Kennedy Center, featuring a who's who of a guest list. Defense Secretary and Wine of the Month subscriber 10 times over, Pete Hegseth. Administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, and guy who definitely left something in you during a surgery, Dr. Mehmet Oz, excuse me. Homeland Security Secretary, and banned from every local animal shelter, Kristi Noem. Even Melania's seldom seen father, Victor Navs, the embodiment of the word harumph, was there. Side note, Victor, Melania's father, is 81 years old, which is only 2 years older than Trump, and I did not even know that was a category. The Melania documentary was financed by Amazon founder and juiced up Mr. Clean Jeff Bezos, who spent a reported $75 million on it. Known sexual assaulter and real-life version of Remy the Rat, director Brett Ratner took the helm, and 2/3 of the New York crew asked to have their names removed from the credits, so you know it's a banger. There's porn on the internet with a bigger IMDb section. There's even probably a video that has a name similar to bigger IMDb section. Bigger BBC section? I don't know. There's something for everybody. And that's all the jokes I have for you today. Whew. I was unsure I got everything lined up correctly. I had everything lined up correctly. I'm very proud of myself for if you watch the video, you see things. I think it was like a 95% hit rate. Shut up. All right. Let's get into this week in the late night. It was just another week going through. I believe Colbert announced his end date, which is sometime in May, mid-May, and he says he's not over it is not the word, but he is, he's dealt with it and everything, and I don't think we'll hear from him after the end of the show for a little bit. And we don't need to hear from somebody whose show is coming to an abrupt end. We don't need to deal with that at this point in time. Let this man sulk and feel bad because his show's taken away from him. This week on Late Night on The Tonight Show, we saw Pete Davidson talking about his kid. He's got a haircut. Zoran Mondani showed up, and Paris Hilton was there as well. Don Toliver performed. I was listening to that Don. Just a side note, I was listening to the Don Toliver record at the new record that came out today at the gym, and it was I've heard his music, and I'm fine with it. And then I thought, because I hadn't listened to a Don Toliver thing in such a long time. But I did have to turn it off halfway through because there was a point where I just need a little bit more motivation. So I turned on a power ballads playlist. Last night I made a power ballads playlist. It's called Ballads of Power. It's got everybody on it. Foreigner, Aerosmith, Whitney, Celine. Oh my gosh. You never heard Alone by Heart and you started you were using the ski erg a little bit faster? Sitting on the Echo bike like I want to dance with somebody. Okay. Kevin James is there as well. Dove Cameron too. She's engaged? Oh, I thought I had a chance. Tyler was there performing a song. Kendall Jenner, Rob Gronkowski, Holly Humberstone, who is somebody I only heard of because of NPR Music. It pays investing. Liam Neeson, Patrick Dempsey, Reggie Miller, and Nick Thune performed stand-up. On Late Night with Seth Meyers, we had... Let's see, hold on. Chris Hayes, Bob the Drag Queen. There's another at this point in the broadcast, which was quite frankly the longest at this point in the broadcast I think I've ever seen. There might be longer ones. Colbert stopped by for an interview. Mark Shaman, Dennis Leary, Jamie Demetriou, and Allison Oliver and Joel McHale. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, we had Yahya Abdul-Mateen talking about the Wonder Man show that's on Disney Plus. Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi. There was an episode I skipped. Jason Isbell in the 400 unit because Jimmy cried again. Niecy Nash Betts. Nate Bargatze, Joe Scarborough, Kaylee Cuoco, Kermit the Frog, and the Format. And I'm sure the Kermit the Frog comments are so nice. And they love the voice actor who was changed like 10 or 15 years ago. I'm sure they're so kind. I love the Muppets, so I have no issue with it. As long as you capture the spirit of Kermit the Frog, we're good. On Colbert's show, The Late Show, we had The War and Treaty perform, and then Josh Shapiro was there. They had another Meanwhile segment. They had Sam Rockwell, George Saunders, another Meanwhile, a Bad Bunny Colbert questionnaire that they broke into two parts for some curious reason. Catherine Anasa was there from The Pit. Jacob, oh my goodness, I don't even know who this is. Jacob Sorboff. Huh. And then Alexander Skarsgård, who is hosting SNL this weekend. Sorry, I'm looking at a work email. This week, I'm at odds with The Daily Show. I do like the show, and we know if you're a listener of the show, I've talked about how much I dislike Jon Stewart right now. But I do think he has some smart things to say. But this guy, I have some issues. I don't dislike him. I have issues with him, and I also have issues with The Daily Show. Anyway, Stewart hosted this week, but my issues are not with him this week. He hosted this Monday, and he spoke to Jason Rezaian. And then Desi Lydic took over hosting duties for the rest of the week, and she spoke to Michael Urie, Mikey Sherrill, let's see, who I didn't know is a billionaire, I think. Isn't that Mikey Sherrill? Sherrill's a billionaire, or is it the other one? Anyway, doesn't matter. And Catherine Lanasa. And then we also had appearances by Grace Kludenschmidt and Ronnie Chang and Michael Costa. And who else? I think that might be it. Now, my issue this week with The Daily Show is they have these, in my opinion, segments, and they feature people typically who stood in as guest hosts before John came back and after The Daily Show, or excuse me, Comedy Central decided not to go with any combination of Desi Lydic and Roy Wood Jr. Or anybody. Obviously Hassan was supposed to take over the show, and then he got in trouble, and then that didn't happen. But anyway, it's usually, in my opinions, were like John Leguizamo and Leslie Jones and again, seat sniffer and friend to MAGA comedians Charlemagne the God. But this week it featured Whitney Cummings, a comedian who, for some reason during the pandemic, changed her tune. And maybe this is like a long time coming, and Cummings and we just never saw that. We never saw it because we weren't paying attention to her, because we were, she had lost her luster. But good Lord, just to have Whitney Cummings on this show, it was a segment I saw Desi introduce it, and then I went, no, thank you. And I turned it off immediately. There's no point in watching giving someone a platform who is spewing hateful rhetoric and just like misinformation. Like, we talk about misinformation all the time. It's just, she is one of those people. She was just like putting, like, how she said lies like how things were going in the sewers and that's how COVID spread or some shit. I don't know. It's just, I don't like her at all. I do not like her. And a lot of people don't. Because this is one of the few times in my life where I was like, I have to see what people are saying. And I went to the Instagram and they posted a clip from the thing, and everybody in the comments were just like, how could you do this? And they are correct. All right, let's get on with this first story. This comes from the Television Academy. Emmys rules merge variety categories. So we're getting some more changes after maybe like a couple of years with changes regarding the Emmys. Now they're gonna speak a lot of jargon in this post, and quite frankly, I could barely understand it. So I'm also referencing this Gold Derby post written by Denton Davidson. Emmys merge scripted variety and talk series into one category, and it could lead to multiple winners. You read that. You heard that right. There's a new rule change, and the 2026 Emmy race is may or may not be overtaken by somebody different. I mean, in any case, it's either going to go to Last Week Tonight, or people will just gift it to Colbert, which is unfortunate because I think if it wasn't Colbert, it'd be Jimmy Kimmel Live. But I think the best and most consistent show is Seth Meyers. But people want statements and not jokes. Anyway, beginning with the 2026 Emmy Awards, the Academy will officially merge the Outstanding Scripted Variety Series and Outstanding Talk Series into a single category, which is now dubbed the Outstanding Variety Series, citing a continued decline in submissions across both fields because they keep changing the rules and because shows keep getting canceled. Now, there's more to this than consolidation. Under the new rules, as Denton writes here, the award will also be classified as an area award, meaning the category can now produce multiple Emmy winners in the same year, an outcome that significantly alters how the race will be judged. Now, according to the Academy, the decision was driven by the reduced number of submissions in both scripted variety and talk series over the past couple of years. Rather than continuing to present two separate awards with shrinking fields, the Board of Governors voted to merge them into one umbrella category encompassing both formats, placing late-night talk shows, topical comedy series, and scripted variety staples into the exact same slot. So that means SNL, Last Week Tonight, and The Late Show are all going to be under the Outstanding Variety Series banner. Nominations are still going to be tracked by format. The Academy will determine the number of nominees proportionately based on how many submissions are received for each format, scripted variety versus talk series. If you're a part of the Television Academy, you get to vote on every single thing, obviously. Same thing for the Movie Academy. But the Film Academy and the Grammys, of course. But not everybody votes for everything, I guess. I think you have to prove for the Film Academy that you've at least seen the movie, but I don't know. I'm not part of anything. To illustrate how that system functions, had the rule been in place last year, the nominee slate would have included 2 scripted variety series, Last Week Tonight and Saturday Night Live, and they went to head-to-head, and then 3 talk series, Daily Show, Jimmy Kimmel Live, Late Show with Stephen Colbert, reflecting submission totals at the time. The tracking model is designed to prevent one format from overwhelming the other simply due to volume, while still allowing both to coexist with a single category. Wow, this is getting a lot more information than the Emmys posted, actually. This is great. This is not something that can stick around forever because, again, they could split these at any time. If any of the nominations, if there's 20 submissions in a given year, then they'd split it up. The biggest change, multiple Emmy winners are now possible. Perhaps the most dramatic update for 2026 is a decision to classify Outstanding Variety Series as an area award. Now, this is very important. We could see multiple speeches in one night for one category. I wonder how that would work, because I don't think I've ever seen an area award. Nominees are judged individually rather than competitively. Instead of selecting a single winner, Emmy voters must answer one question for each nominee. Does this nominee merit an Emmy? Any series that receives at least 90% yes votes will earn an Emmy, creating the possibility of multiple winners in the same category. So realistically, if you're an Emmy voter and you're a fan of all 5 of those shows, Kimmel, Colbert, Last Week Tonight, Saturday Night Live, The Daily Show, then you could vote yes on 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 5. And the ones that have 90% can win. Again, this is something that happened before Variety Talk and Variety Sketch originally competed together until 2015. And then they were split into 2 categories. Shows like Inside Amy Schumer, Portlandia, Key and Peele, Drunk History, Saturday Night Live all competed at once. But we no longer have sketch series, so they had to shrink those fields. The predictions for the Emmy winners in these categories is, will fluctuate wildly. But I think, if you are somebody who is a betting person on those markets, you're going to find that, yes, these characters, these shows, the shows that you think will be nominated again and again. So, again, as I mentioned before, Colbert Show, Kimmel Show, The Daily Show, SNL, Last Week Tonight, those are staples. And unfortunately, the shows that are actually funny, the show that is actually funny, Late Night with Seth Meyers, is not going to get recognized in any form or fashion, but whatever. All right, listen, I'm done. If you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see a video version, where you can see everything I've ever done, me talking to famous people sometimes. I just put out an interview with Candice Gardino, and you can find that on the podcast feed, the RSS feed for the Constitutionals, the Entertainment Business News podcast. You can also listen to LinkedIn Logs, a jobs podcast. If you want to watch a video version of this show, as well as those other shows, as well as the interviews, go to youtube.com/cpluscomedy, and that's where you'll find all the video stuff. Follow us on social media at cpluscomedy on Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.